Good morning, everybody. I am working on my full deck challenge card 44 today. And you'll see I've sort of started it just because I wanted to have that word down, because the prompt this week is window. And I kind of made something with a little window that you're going to see the word window through. I know. Anyway, this was last week's card. Very fallish themed. And I'm going to be bringing over circles this week into the window card. And then I'm going to be doing label, but I'm going to do something a little different with the label. It's a label that I made. I have I wouldn't say a ton. I have a really nice crafting space. It's a whole room. It used to be my daughter's bedroom. But it's not a whole room, if you know what I mean, because we also have a reading chair and a table and a bookcase. We have stuff in here, but for the most part, 75% of the room is for me to craft with. But I don't have a huge amount of space to be doing I was really into the jelly plates last year, but I have probably 200 pieces of paper I've made on a jelly plate, and some of it's good and some of it's bad and some of it's, and I've been trying to figure out ways in the last couple of weeks that I can use more in my what I make, and this is one of them. So this was like a green piece of paper, and then I used my label stamp, and I've been doing that. I've done it with a couple of them because I'm just trying to get some use out of these jelly papers, because I was using them for collage, but I haven't done that in a while because I've been doing other things that don't take that kind of collage. So anyway, I'm working on some clusters that use labels that I made, and I decided to use one as my label, because that's my constant label, onto card 44. So I know some people probably go traditional window, but I actually took one of Tim Holtz's, this is one of his little, because it looked like a little window, and I've put this star clear transparency, and so I'm going to be using it like this on the window, and it's going to say window through it, because yeah. And sorry, I was trying to figure out where I was putting things. I think it goes there. And so I'm going to be using this as a window. And I have a little frog. I'm still keeping within my fall colors, although I'm starting to move towards Christmas here with my maroon and my green. So we will see. And like I said, I'm bringing over circles. And I have another little frog, because there's a frog right here in case you can't tell. You know, because I don't have it in the frame. Sorry, guys. I still am having... I don't know what it is about my neighborhood, but there is always... seems to be construction going on here. Huge. And yesterday was... our neighbor of the last 7 years moved recently. And so they're completely redoing where he lived, the place he lived in, because, well, lots of people do that around here when a long-time tenants move out, because they can charge more money. I live in an area where rent prices are ridiculous for the cost of living in this area. A large portion of our workforce are hospitality because we're a tourist town. And I don't know if you've checked recently, but hospitality doesn't pay a whole lot. My daughter is in hospitality because she works at a resort down in Big Sur. But, you know, she does not make the big bucks. I mean, she makes a pretty living. They pay, you know, I'm happy because they do pay her somewhat of a living wage. It costs so much to live here. The only reason we can live here is because my husband and his job. So, because he works for one of the biggest employers around here, and makes enough with what he's doing that we can live here. So, gosh. I'm not sure why I'm so congested lately. My allergies have been going crazy. We were supposed to have this big, essentially rainstorm yesterday, and it never came. It never showed itself. So it was just a regular, we had some sprinkling. But so this one is kind of fall themed. Definitely fall colors. I really like, well, I wouldn't say it. I mean, I like frogs. Let me say that. I really like frogs. Not enough to ever own a frog, because I'd rather own a lion cub. No, I'm just kidding. Because we have cats, I would never, I'd probably never own a frog, just because I'd be afraid it would get out. I had a fish named Vladimir for a while. Or was he named Boris? Why am I suddenly... It was a Russian name. I don't know why. I just felt that he was one of those fighter fish that has to be alone in his cage, or his water thing. And I got very, very, very attached to. Now I'm not allowed to have fish anymore. Because it was devastating when he died for me. Which is, you know, kind of silly, because they're not supposed to. I read all this stuff online and I realized, oh, I wasn't treating him right. So I got this whole setup for him. And he was very happy in there, but my cats wouldn't leave him alone. Like, even if I put him up on our tallest shelf, our current cat that's still with us, he would do whatever he could to get, like, you know, climbing tall bookshelves to get to him. Because how dare there be a creature that he can't get to? And he actually, at one point, knocked him down. And I thought that he was dead then. But he was not. He survived. But the poor baby was just, you know, he was saved only because, so how's that looking? Pretty fallish. He only survived because the way it got knocked over, he was in a tiny bit of water. And I found him, and I actually thought he had passed away, and I had put him in some water and had a good cry. And then I heard him splashing around. So he had withstood a lot. He was with us probably 5 years, but I was very attached to him. I tried to make everything really good for him, but he, you know, passed away. So I'm not allowed to have fish anymore. Because I took it very hard. And I didn't want to bring another one in here when I knew the cat would just, you know. I could probably bring one in now. Because he's 12 and a half and he isn't as crazy as he was. But I just figure I don't need it right now because I don't want to chance it. I thought I had seen, looking at some of Tim Holt's, it says Halloween, but some of the words are not as Halloween-ish as, because initially I was going to put this by moonlight here, but I don't really have, it's not really moonlight, so it's just sort of fallish. I should get out my 44 first, because I don't know how much room I have. Sorry, let me get my drawer of numbers. Guys, let's see. For everyone. I have a thing where I just keep numbers. I've been running out of I wish more people sold numbers, larger numbers. Yeah, this one. I'm going to use the last 4s. So if you can hear anything, that is them redoing the house next door. Or the... I don't know. By moonlight just seems kind of perfect. I don't know. Because I was trying to do like the whole starry night. So I do have circles on here. I guess that could be moonish. But yeah. This is card 44. Let's see. So you can see. I did use some gold here, but you'll notice that this is more of a copper. These came in a pack from Michael's. Around here, that is the only place I have to shop for scrapbooking supplies. So I have to either buy them online or I have to get them at Michael's. And I see people get things at Michael's and they are much more than my Michael's has, so I don't know. I think I want that there. And then let me see. Trying to figure out how I want another word there. But yeah, so far we have, I'm even carrying over the same green. Oh. So my carryover, like I said, were circles. Oh, and I did, I wanted to put a few tiny circles on here. You never have too many circles. Just kidding, you can, but yes, there is. And I feel like every time a neighbor moves out, they're making all these changes so that they can charge more money. And I'm sure that's what they'll do when we move out someday. It's just... rentals are already at such a premium in this area. It's... I mean, you think that we live in a big... I mean, we essentially pay almost San Francisco prices in this tiny little place that we live. Because we're a tourist town. And yeah. But, you know, if my husband didn't have the job that he had, we would definitely not continue living here. It's just, sorry, this is like a little, this is where I dump all my hole punch things. Just trying to find, I guess I have 3. That's like, I guess. But yeah, you would have thought that they were tearing down our house with how loud they were yesterday, because they're redoing the kitchen. It's just funny to me, because my husband's work, a bunch of people, they decided to do a union because people couldn't afford to live here. And I was like, that's not the jobs. The job place pays competitive prices, you know, pays competitive. It's one of the better employers you can work for on the peninsula, but it's all this, it's all the landlords asking. Such crazy prices, that's the reason for it. Anyway, so I think that's good. I like that the window is behind the window, so you can kind of see. My hope was to do sort of like a starry evening, you know, the frogs are out, the stars are out. Yeah. So But I was thinking that I wanted more like a rub-on here, but I think I'm okay. I did the By Moonlight. I don't like how this is crooked here, but that's last week's card. Not going to deal with that. Yeah, so we have this week's card, number 44. And the carryover from last week, like I said, it's either the green. No, I'm just kidding. It's the circles. Circle, 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 circle. And my constant is labels. And I used one that I made myself. Even though the point of using the labels was to get all of the labels I have out of my... Sorry, now I'm suddenly like, oh, do I want this up here? Out of my possession. But I'm going to be honest, 44 in, and it hasn't made a dent in my label collection. But I have used labels, and so that has been a good thing. I've gotten rid of, you know, I've used the ones that I've used. And that has been really good. And those are out of... Sorry, I was trying to find my... rubbing thing. Or maybe it just won't come up. Maybe I used this wrong. Did I use this? No, there. That's what I thought. Like, what's happening with this? These are, I don't want to say super cheap. These are cheap rub-ons that I used from the Dollar Tree. And so they rub on differently and weirdly, but I wanted just a little bit there in the corner with the gold. So I am happy with that. I considered doing some right here too. I see the guys are back. I can hear them out there now. Anyway, my daughter was hanging out yesterday because she was just having a day. And sometimes when she's having a day, she comes and hangs out with her mom. And she thought, you know, it was so noisy out there because here in where I live, houses are also very close together. So... anyway. So this is the only, probably the only time I can be on camera today because I don't know why you are not coming off. I had a whole, well, there it is. It just came with my 49 to market and I like it. Oh, well. See, that's the thing with the cheap rub-on. Sometimes they don't rub off, but that's okay. It's more like accent pieces, so that's fine. Anyway, there you go, guys. Number 44. I love how fallish these are. This is fantastic. And that I'm using tags and my own label up there. This is the first time I haven't put the word on a label, I think, too. So, as you can see. My husband always thinks it detracts from what I've done. He likes to see what I've done, but I like that I have the prompt on there. It's just something I like. So, there you go, guys. Prompt number 44, window. And like I said, I used a Tim Holtz window that I put the stars behind. I know it's not a Tim Holtz window. I don't know what it's... I don't know what he calls them. This is the pack I used. Everybody always reads the numbers, so I guess I should read. They're just frames. TH94372. And I couldn't tell you for the life of me who made the clear heart star transparency. It's from my scrapbook supply, and it was starting to yellow around the edges. So I've had it for a very long time. It came from someone who did the 4x6. I mean, not 4x6, the 3x4 pocket scrapbooking, because that's what size it was. So, yeah, there you go. And I managed to work some frogs in this year. Excited by that. And, yeah. So, guys, thanks for joining me. I'm really loving this card. It's like a little, almost story land. You know, Mr. Toad and Mr. Frog. That's what they are, right? All right, everyone. Thanks for listening to me, Babylon. And I will see you in a few days for Marguerite Miller or for my clusters using my labels. I haven't decided what's going to get done first. I didn't even do last week's Marguerite Miller yet. Mostly because I was finishing up the Oddtober book, which I did. I do have a playlist for the Oddtober 25. But I put it under just Oddtober because I plan on starting probably this weekend doing the Oddtober 24. So I can try and get that done before Thanksgiving. I don't know if I'll make it, though. It took me 2 weeks to do the last one. We'll see how it goes this time. All right, everybody, take care. I hope you have a really wonderful day, and that whatever you're doing today, you're enjoying. Be it crafting or reading or watching movies or working. I just hope you have a really wonderful day. Thanks. Take care.